Hi knitters, welcome to episode 75 of the Knitty McPurly podcast. This is a very special episode because this is the very last episode of the Knitty McPurly podcast that I will be producing. I've really been doing some soul searching, and I've discovered that my true love is of crochet. I've been denying myself all this time. I've been living a lie. So from henceforth, this podcast will be known as Hooky McChaney. April Fools! I do like to crochet, but not that much. I would not characterize myself as primarily a crocheter. But it is April Fool's Day, and I never get into holidays like this, like it's just not my thing. But my husband was showing me some on Instagram, and they were so corny. I was like, it's Friday, it's April Fool's Day, I've got to come up with something. So I'm drinking this non-alcoholic beer. This is my favorite one. I'm a big non-alcoholic beer person. If anyone else is, I don't know. But this one from Brewdog, Punk AF. AF stands for alcohol free. Okay, so get your head out of the gutter, people. This one is my favorite one. It's made in Ohio, but I don't know where. 20 calories. And it tastes amazing. I'm a big IPA fan. Anyway, so this is my little Friday celebratory non-alcoholic beer in a teacup. I don't even know. That's nothing. That's not even a thing. So I'm very happy to be here today. I have some kind of weird lighting. It's been a really weird day. It's been like both sunny and rainy simultaneously all day long. So we've got weird lighting here. But anyway, I have been a little bit burned out. This week has been a little burny for me. Like I have 2 weeks until spring break. And spring break is going to be amazing because all my kids are off. We're off Holy Week. I'm sorry, Easter week, not Holy Week. Most public schools and most schools are off the week before Easter. A lot of Catholic schools take off Easter week, the week after Easter. So they're off Holy Thursday, the Thursday before Easter, through the whole next week. So I'm very, very much looking forward to that. I have one kid who this is her last year at home, and she's going to school with her sister next year. So that's super exciting. I'm graduating one from homeschool into Catholic school. But also the Lent Mystery Knit Along is more than halfway done. If you don't follow 231 Baker Street on Instagram, if you want to see the progress, because she is kind of amazing in the way that she keeps up with the progress. Every day, like her shawl looks more and more like the shawl that I have that I haven't shown anyone yet. It's very, very exciting. But anyway, she also shares the little meditations that were in the boxes in case you just bought the pattern. Go follow her if you want to keep up with the Mystery Knit Along for Lent. 231 Baker Street, and her name is Sarah. Let's see. What else? Oh, also during spring break, my husband and I are going to Lake Junaluska to check out our retreat place. That's going to be super fun. I plan on doing a lot of my podcast stuff there that week. I will be having hopefully some Instagram pictures and videos going up so that you guys who are coming to the retreat next January can see the location and what it's like. Of course, it's April now, and when we're going, it'll be January, so it'll be a little bit different, but you'll get the basic gist. Okay, one little order of business before we get started. I probably have quite a few orders of business, and I'll remember them as we go along. My Francis necklace and my Chloe stitch marker necklaces, those two stitch marker necklaces have been discontinued by the maker. So I have a couple of gold Chloe's in stock right now. Everything else I'm totally out of. And it's kind of hard for me to pin down exactly what has gone out of stock. I double checked the Josephine because that one is one I know people say, I want to get that one for my birthday, anniversary, Christmas, whatever. and I'm waiting to get it for that. Will you still have it? That one has not been discontinued. The other ones, I'm just not sure. Like, they sent me a list of things that were discontinued, but some things on there weren't, and some things that weren't on there are. I don't know, whatever. We'll figure it out. But I definitely know that those two, Frances and Chloe, have been discontinued. And those are my stitch marker necklaces over on my website if you haven't seen those. Okay, progress and shop news. I have a free pattern coming out. I can't remember if I showed this last week. It was literally 7 days ago. Did I show this last week? Maybe? Oh my gosh. Seriously. Chemo brain is a real thing. And like, it's been a year since I finished chemo. Like, how long can I claim that? How long can I be like, no, it was the drugs that did this to me. Anyway, this is the retro 90s sock. Yeah, because I said it had a Huxtable vibe, right? Or a Seinfeld vibe. It just has a 90s vibe to me. There are DK weight yarn sock kits in the shop if you are interested in using that exact yarn that I have here. That is going to be a free pattern. It's currently with the tech editor, and then it is going to the testers, and then it will be a free pattern on my site. I'm currently wearing the camel cowl right now. It's been a weird day. Like, I'm hot and I'm cold and I'm hot and I'm cold, and I'm going with this now. Okay, so I'm working on a second sock pattern, and this is going to be, oh my gosh, I love it so much. Going with the 90s theme, this is going to be the black and white cookie sock. If you remember from Seinfeld, the black and white cookie, that's just one of those really quotable shows, and that's a really quotable part. So in our 20-year marriage, my husband and I have quoted that many, many times. But this is just a 1x1 color work with stripes here and stripes here. And there is no heel in it right now, but there will be, because we're going to do it up Bob Ross style today. We're going to cut in an Afterthought heel. If you've never done that, this will be maybe something new for you. I need to find a ruler because I just realized I don't have one. I know some of you have a fancy sock ruler, which is great. I don't own one of those, but it looks really cool. I just use a regular, plain old school ruler. But anyway, we'll be doing that soon. Another thing that has happened is last week when I showed my Hepburn sweater, I just thought the hem was too busy. It was just, there was too much going on in the hem. There was the split hem, and it had a curve in the front and a curve in the back. And I love the sweater so much, but the hemline was too busy. I mean, it's amazing that anything could be too busy on a beige stockinette sweater, but I did feel like it was. So I pulled that out, and I am knitting just straight across right now. I'm not going to round it in the front. I am going to do short rows in the back, but I'm not going to split the hem. So it will have a bottom similar to my Inverness cardigan, where it's straight across the front and then lower and rounded in the back. Now, what I did here, and you can totally see it, the camera picks it up so well. What I did is, you can tell where I ripped back and I started knitting with that same yarn that was sort of blocked a little bit. So, it's very wonky. Now, there are some people who would recoil in horror at the thought of reusing yarn that had been blocked and that had retained some of the squiggle. But I was thinking, it's a thing in sweater design to use a different size needle as you progress down the body of the sweater for the purpose of changing the gauge and changing the fit without increasing. Usually it's increasing. You don't really want it to go in. Usually you want it to go out. So you can increase by increasing the size of your needle. And that's really essentially what I'm doing here is I'm changing the gauge slightly, probably, maybe, we don't know for sure. Once I block this, we'll be able to see for sure. So I think it's going to be a slight change. I am of the opinion that it is not really going to matter in the long run. If I'm wrong, then I will come back and tell you about that, because this is kind of a controversial thing to do. I think that's kind of funny because I do have non-knitters that watch this podcast and they're going to be like, really? But knitters know it is. It's one of those things that some people will recoil in horror at the thought of using yarn that was not perfectly, pristinely flat to reknit. And because you can see it, I mean, you can see the line where I ripped back, but I think that it will block out. We'll see. I'll let you know. If I fail, I will share that information because that is helpful information going forward, right? So those have been the things that I've been working on. I have been redoing the hem on this, and I finished writing this pattern. Like I said, it's with the tech editor, headed to the testers. Testers have a special coupon if they want to get the yarn to make the sock, but you can use scraps for this. Basically, you need 50 grams of, we got color A, 50 grams. Colors B and C, you need 25 grams, and color D, you need 50 grams. So that's really nice. You can also use scraps if you want to. Now this one, I just love it. I just think it's so cool. I think it's gonna look really cool on. Yeah, it's interesting how this one knit up. I feel like my gauge was a little bit tighter because the whole thing is 1x1 color work, which is really, really fun and really enjoyable, relaxing color work. Like your tension is constantly the same because you always have the same size floats in the back. It's always just 1 stitch long. But today, like I said, we're going to be cutting in an Afterthought heel, and I think that is the bulk of the knitting that I have been doing. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to add this one little thing to progress and shop news. I have known Jen Yun for a few years now, like on Instagram. I don't know her personally, like, you know, face to face, because she is a Canadian and she makes amazing leather goods for knitters. And I've talked about her before because I have her portager bag that I have been testing. And she's making me another one. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Anyway, I have this that I got from her a couple of years ago. This is like a grapey purple. I don't know if you can see. It's got a JY on the back of it. That's like her little imprint thing that she does. This is like a grapey purple matte leather scissor sleeve. And I can't remember when I got this from her, but I got the scissors from her too. And in my mind, I just kind of tucked it away, but I was thinking I would love to have these in my shop. And she's Canadian, so it's a lot of money for Americans to purchase things from another country because of the duties and the shipping and all that. So I thought, how cool would it be if she could make some for me for my shop? And she is. I'm gonna put some pic. If she doesn't mind, I'm gonna verify with her. But if she doesn't mind, I'm just gonna put up a couple pictures here of ones that she took. She made a special scissor sleeve to fit my Devon scissors. And this one has a very kind of basic curve here to go with these scissors. But the ones that she made for me to fit these scissors have a special shape. Oh, they are so amazing. I will have these in the shop coming up soon. I am over the moon excited to offer these to Americans. It's not that often that I want to work with people that's under their label. It's not under my label, but it's so classy that I just think that's great. My label does not need to be on these amazing, beautiful things because they are so classy and perfect and amazing that the elegance speaks for itself. But really, I'm just offering it a little bit cheaper to Americans because, you know, I can ship it to you duty free and with, you know, just American shipping. If you're from Canada, then you should get these directly from Jen because she sells these and she has sleeves for like circular needles and she does a whole bunch of different things that are really, really cute. She even makes some leather stitch markers that are just so cute out of scraps. Like if she has scrap leather, she'll make some stitch markers out of that. And it's just awesome. She's one of my favorite people. I just really, really like her a lot. I can't wait for us to someday meet in person. But anyway, keep an eye out because those will be in my shop.
Hey Devin, so I just wanted to show you what this case looks like. I figured a video would be really good for that. So that's it right there. That's the back. And then there's the scissors when you pull them out. So I made the custom case, I designed it and specifically with these scissors in mind so that it fits nice and snug, and it just holds it nice. Change the shape of it slightly to accommodate the shape of the scissors as well too. So I hope you like it. Yeah.
Tomorrow, the 2022 Advent calendars go on sale. April 2nd, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Set an alarm. Get one while the getting is good. I don't think I have a lot. Like this is the largest thing I've done up until this point. Very excited about it. One thing I wanted to talk about, I had a super good question from a newsletter subscriber saying, the theme is stripes and brights. Do you mean like highlighter brights? And that's a really good question because that might be what I mean, but it is not. I don't think I will ever do that. That is just not my thing. These are very classic, modern, more modern than traditional, but kind of traditional modern Christmas colors, more solids than speckles, more brights and bold colors than neutrals. And the idea is that we're going to be striping. That's what we're going to be doing with these. So I think it will look very modern, traditional, nothing crazy, no highlighter colors, nothing like that at all. That goes on sale tomorrow at noon. It is DK weight this year. The theme is the MCal is going to be winter accessories. It's going to be really, really fun. They will be $125. I am taking a little bit of a hit at this price point because I am trying to get as much of my packaging made in the US. I have been working toward this for the past couple of years, and my products are all now either made in the US or sourced from countries that I know definitely do not use slave labor. First world countries like France, places like South America, where there is no slave labor like there is in China. I do not want to use anything from China. Some of my packaging still does come from there, and I am trying to phase that out. It does cost a little bit more. Shipping has gone up. All of my supplies have gone up, but I really want to keep this at a reasonable price point because, I don't know, times are hard. And just the thought of having this advent calendar to look forward to and this cool MCal, like it's so fun. I have seen you guys enjoy the Lent one, and I saw you enjoy last year's MCal during Advent, and it's just so much fun. So as many of you as can participate, I would love. Again, like Lent, I will be selling just the pattern. I hope to get this out in like October this year instead of November, because stuff can get lost in that holiday rush, and that is heartbreaking when an advent calendar goes missing. So I'll probably be mailing it out a little early, and you can just tuck it on a shelf. And, you know, I know it's hard to do that. I know we want to get it and open it, and you can if you want to, but if you want to save it for Advent, just tuck it on a shelf, and that way it will be safely at your house and not lost in the mail somewhere. Okay. Also on my mind has been the yak sweater. There's a Hilaire Bellock poem called I think it's just called The Yak. I'm definitely going to have to name this sweater after that poem. When Gigi was in kindergarten, she was 5, and she memorized this poem. As a friend to the children, commend me the yak, you will find it exactly the thing. And it's a Hilaire Bellock poem, and this little 5-year-old got up on stage in front of the entire school and recited it. It was adorable. But anyway, that's a wonderful poem, and the yarn that I talked about last time, which is 50% silk, 50% yak. Who knew? Who knew? You can knit with so many things. I have the Fleece and Fiber source book. It's downstairs. I should bring it up here at some point, but it goes through all of the different fibers that you can knit with, and it is a lot. Because basically, fiber has the same properties as like hair. And any animal that has hair, you can spin it into fiber and knit that up. Hold on. Anyway, that book is a super interesting, it's like a coffee table book. It's not really the kind that you would sit down and read, although you certainly could, and I definitely have. But it has a lot of pictures and a lot of really interesting information about different fibers. But this is one of the very first truly luxury yarns that I'm going to have in my shop. It's not up there yet. 50% silk, 50% yak, and it just feels amazing. And it kind of got me thinking about what I want in this sweater. I wear, and I said this last week and maybe the week before, but I wear my Inverness sweater more than any other sweater. In talking to some of you, I learned that the neckline on that sweater is a little bit large for someone with a bigger bust. So unless you're planning on wearing it with a shirt underneath, it might be too much for somebody with a bigger bust. I typically do wear it with a shirt underneath, like a tank top or a shirt with a collar or something like that. But anyway, I just love the fit of that. So I want my yak sweater to have a fit that is similar to that, but with a slimmer, not like a crew neck, but something in between those two that is just a slimmer fit. Maybe even a V-neck. No, not a V-neck. I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. It's in the mind process right now. But I was thinking about, what are your favorite knitted things? And I think there are 3 qualities that go into making a knitted piece a favorite. And those are fit, color, and yarn. Because if the yarn is amazing, that can elevate something mediocre. And if the yarn is mediocre, it can really, take down something that would have otherwise been amazing. My friend Lisa, who taught me how to knit, I remember her telling me that, early on in her knitting experience, she wanted to make, it was a Hannah Fettig cardigan. I can't remember. Hannah Fettig has a whole bunch of cool cardigans, but she wanted to make one of these, and she bought like this amazing, fabulous, I feel like it was like Spud and Chloe, really fancy, high-end, cool yarn that was super expensive. And it didn't turn out. Like, it was one of her early makes, and the sweater just, she just didn't love the sweater, and she just never really wore it. And so after that, she was like, well, I'm not doing that again. So she goes to Michael's and buys the cheapest acrylic yarn and makes this adorable pullover that she's like, I love this sweater, but I hate the yarn. And it's like, it's this balance all the time of finding out, what can I do here to make this garment something that I will really, really love? Off the subject slightly, and I'll come back to it, but please check out this amazing sweater and how amazing. This is Sarah again of 123 Baker Street. She's kind of amazing. She's kind of the queen of knitting. She made this adorable top. Now, she is very petite and tiny, so, it wouldn't work in all circumstances, but she made this top out of one Knitty McPurly Say Anything sock set. I was like, what? Because I had seen, she posted a while back that she was making a sweater with the sock set, and I didn't remember if she had bought a couple of sock sets or what. Because, a skein of fingering weight yarn is like 450 yards. It's a lot. I don't exactly know how many, but it's a lot of yards. So I was thinking, 2 skeins and you could make a good sweater, but no, she did it with one. And it's adorable. It just turned out so good. I've been telling everybody, like, look at this. It looks so, so good. And it looks amazing on her. And I just can't believe that she did that. This is an Andrea Mowry pattern that I think she adapted a little bit to suit her needs. But she has a post up on it if you want to go read all the details on that. Okay, so the yarn the fit, the color. It's so easy to get sucked in by pretty things, and also to just not know what you like. Gigi and I talk about this all the time. We are people who don't know what we like, and so it takes a lot of trying. And now that I am 44 years old, I now know what I like, but I spent a lot of my life not knowing. And if you don't know what colors look good on you or what colors make you feel good, I had a lovely lady email me this week and say, when you wore that gray sweater, you looked amazing. But when you wore yellow, you looked really washed out. And I was like, that's super helpful because I love yellow. And I'll still keep wearing yellow because I like it. You know, this is kind of a tannish yellow. But I don't know, it's good to know what colors you are drawn to and what you're most likely to pick up and what you're going to put on the most. So think about that. Think about the fit, the color, and the yarn, because all of those things are what makes an amazing garment or accessory or whatever it is that you're making. One thing I wanted to talk about, this is not a part of a segment, but I have this book. It is called No Idle Hands, The Social History of American Knitting by Anne McDonald. And I actually bought this book in 2016 when I started my podcast because I thought it would be super interesting to talk about this on the podcast, and then I never did. And I was messaging with someone and they said, have you read this book? And I'm like, I own that book. I have not read the whole thing. And so I actually thought about, it's a sizable book. I actually thought about going through it with you, but it has, let me see, it has 16 chapters and it goes from basically knitting on the Mayflower. This is American knitting from the beginning, knitting on the Mayflower. And she wrote this book in 1988. So, you know, what are we talking about here? We're talking about 268 years. Is that right? 1620, right? For the Mayflower? Did I do that math right? I'm kind of on the spot here. It's, you know, that long of knitting. And she is a historian. She's a lifelong knitter and a historian. So she consulted primary sources to get this information. And as a result, it's extremely accurate, but it's also very pinpoint detailed. And that's kind of why I decided not to go through it with you, because it's a lot of detail. It's a lot of people's personal letters and diaries and writing about their knitting. And just people knit back in the day, like in the colonial period, so much that they almost didn't write, they didn't say anything about it because it was such a staple of their daily life that they were constantly always knitting. One thing that I thought was really interesting when I was taking a look at this book again is how they felt back then that idleness was a sin. It was sinful to just sit. And so you needed to be working. Isn't that interesting? Sorry about that. My iPhone storage was full and then I dropped my tripod. So now everything's whatever. It's all fine. Okay. Anyway, I'm a big fan of Andy Griffith and, you know, just kind of that fine art of sitting and staring, you know, like let's just sit on the porch and Aunt Bee will snap the green beans and Andy will play the guitar and we'll enjoy the evening. There's something kind of beautiful about that. But at the same time, that's not really my personality. I do like to be busy all the time. So maybe I'm a little bit more colonial than mid-century. But anyway, there's that. Okay, this week's word of the week is heel, because we're going to be doing an Afterthought heel on this sock today. And the word heel comes from the Old English hela, H-E-L-A, to the Middle English, to the Old Norse heel, H-A-E-L-L, and it's primarily the back part of the human foot. From the OED, it is the projecting hinder part of the foot, circa 850. And And then it takes on more meanings as time goes on. In 1605, they began using it. And whenever I give the exact year, I'm talking about when it was used in print. So it was probably used orally before that, but that kind of thing is not something that you can know. So 1605, it was like if you wanted a horse to heel, that's when it took on that meaning. To lean a boat to one side, to heel, 1575. And using that tilting to one side as, to be perfectly honest, that's as far as I got on the word of the week. I just kind of ran out of time. It's been a busy week. That's all I got. But here is our topic of the week. I'm going to Bob Ross style up this heel. So here's that. Okay, folks. So here we have our sock that we're going to be working on. This is the black and white cookie sock. Please pardon my fingernails. I tried to paint them after chemotherapy, and this is just as good as they look. So you'll just have to bear with me. I'm going to place my Afterthought heel, and I'm just going to show you how to do that today. So if you've never done it before, this is a great place to start and to learn. Okay, so I'm going to use my ruler here, and I am going to measure from the tip of the toe. Now, you can go either based off of the length of your foot or of your shoe size. I have very large feet, and so my feet are about 10 inches long. So I'm going to measure to about 8 inches, right about here. And I am going to choose a row that I will cut. So I'm just going to pick up one leg of each stitch, just in a few stitches there, just to mark the row, okay? This is the row that I am going to cut for my Afterthought heel. Now this, let's see, I need 28 stitches. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be picking up the row that is directly above my cut row and the row that is directly below my cut row. Okay, so that row right there and that one right there. We're going to do this Bob Ross style, which basically means that I'm going to do it in real time, and you'll just have to bear with me as we deal with our happy little stitches. I'm going to assume that this one is the first one, and I can always change that later if I need to. But I'm just going to pick up the right leg, let's see, of each of these stitches. And the reason we do the right leg is because, yep, I just wanted to check and make sure that I was on all of the same, I was on the right row. The reason we do the right leg is because when we go to pick up our stitches and knit, our stitches will be on the needle with the right orientation, and we will not have to flip them, okay? So we've got our happy little stitches here, and we're just picking up one at a time. Now in the end, I want to make sure that my toe is laying flat so that my heel and my toe, go together. That they're laying right. One of them is not kind of off to one side. So I'm going to pick up the happy little stitches, and then I'll go through and I will count and verify that I have 28. And I can always, let's see, this one. I can always add one more or take one off if I need to. Okay, so there's that row. So let's just verify. It looks like they're all on the same row, and we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25. Okay, so I'm going to pick up one more right here. We're just going to get the right leg of that guy right there. Okay. Now, I lost my needle there, but that doesn't matter because I know that it is the row that I'm going to cut is the one that is right next to the one that I just picked up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see this row right here is going to be my cut row right there. So I'm going to go right below that. Now this time I'm going to be cutting it the other way. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the left leg of the stitch because I will have it turned around the other way. when I am working this, and that I think will put it on the needles with the right orientation. Now, if it should happen that I got that somehow backwards and your stitches are on the needle facing the wrong way, the way that you'll know that they're facing the wrong way is that it feels kind of awkward to knit into them, like it feels like it's too tight. So if that is the case, all you have to do is knit through the back loop. So we're doing this Bob Ross style, so you'll get to see that part with me. This is really fun, I think. You know, you can kind of get your knitting and watch and learn something. And maybe you are an experienced placer of Afterthought heels. And if that's the case, you'll be able to check and see if we do it the same way. Okay, so let's double check. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25. Once again, I have missed one, so I'm just going to grab that one again. And then I will, there. Okay, so now I have 26. Okay, this is the fun part. So I have picked up my stitches, so I'm not gonna lose any stitches. They are all securely on the needle. Now, this row in the middle is the one that I am going to cut. And I'm gonna cut it in the middle because that way I will have long enough strands on either end of the heel that I will have room to weave them in. Now, because this is a 2-color sock, I will actually have to cut both the black and the white. I'm going to use this needle instead of the scissor point. Okay, so there's the white, and just make sure that you're picking up from that row that's in between. That's the row that we're going to pop out. Okay, and then we just chit-chat while we remove those stitches. Pardon the sound of my needles. Need music or something to kind of cover that up a little bit. And I'm just going to pull out that row. Oops. Try my best not to split the yarn. There we go. And all we're going to do is pull out these stitches from the row that we cut. Now, just a little tip for you as you go along. I think that it's kind of nice not, what happened there? Not sure. We won't worry about that right now. It's kind of nice to not pull it out all the way to the end. So I'm going to go through and pull these stitches out, but I'm not going to go all the way to the end. And the reason is because that way, when I go to knit my heel in, I don't end up with kind of a gap or a hole there. You don't have to, let's see. What's that? Oh, it looks like I split it there somewhere. I made a mistake. That's okay. You can fix it. There are no mistakes, just opportunities for embellishment, right? Opportunities for learning, doing something interesting. See, what has happened here is I have split the yarn. This is the beauty of the Bob Ross tutorial, is that sometimes things don't go the way they're supposed to go. But I'm just going to see, there we go, okay. Just gonna pull it through. And I think yeah, that's all right, no worries. What has happened here? Did I pick up the wrong? All right, I'm gonna stop there. Okay. All right, now let's go over here and do this side. I'm just not gonna worry about it. And we'll see how it all goes, okay? Oh, I'm gonna need to go get my yarn because I left it over in my knitting bag. There we go. So all I'm doing, and this will work just the same if you're only using one color as if you're using 2 colors, it's just that you'll only have one color to pull out. But you're basically going to remove that row that is in between the 2 rows that you picked up. And if we make a mistake, just remember, it's the heel. It's the bottom of the foot. No big deal. I'm gonna do one more, okay. Now I'm not gonna go all the way to the end. Now, what has happened here? I'm not exactly sure. Huh. Okay. I think maybe what we're looking at here is just some float issues. Interesting. Okay. How many stitches is that supposed to be? 2, 4, 6, 8, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. So 2 stitches here. It's like it's like I picked up from the wrong row, maybe. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay, hang on just a sec. Let me go I'm going to use some of the black color, if I can find. All right. And we're going to pick up this heel right here as we speak. All right, so I'm going to get one color here. And I'm going to get my 3rd needle. Knitting, sock knitting with 3 16-inch circulars is like my favorite. I'm going to put off dealing with that one part right there until I get a little bit further in. Now here I think I might take out a little bit more. Okay, there. Didn't go all the way to the edge though. See, there's still a little bit more. And the reason I do that is just to avoid the hole. If you get a big old gaping hole there, you can just sew it up. It's really not a big deal. It's not a big deal is kind of my general take on all things knitting related. And look, see, look, this stitch is backwards. So because it is on the needle backwards and I don't want to change the orientation, this first one is tough. There we go. I'm just going to knit through the back loop. See, all those directions that I gave you. Backwards. Maybe I'm holding it backwards from the way I thought I would be. But all I'm doing is I've taken a color here and I am just going to knit into the back loop because this stitch is on backwards. See how it would be awkward to pull it like that. And that's how you can tell. And whoops. There we go. So all I'm going to do here is just knit into each stitch with my black yarn. And they're happy little stitches. And it's a beautiful day. Life is good, right? It's not perfect, not everywhere, but it's always good. Okay. All right, I can't actually see what you see, so I'm just gonna hope that everything's in the right place. And I'm just gonna pick up these stitches and I'm going to stripe my heel too. So the benefit of kind of the striped heel is you just knit on one color and then on the other color you decrease. See, here is where it got a little bit wonky. Let's see if we can. All right, there we go. That's fine. Yeah, it's on backwards, so we're just gonna, this one looks all right. We're gonna pick that one up like this. Okay. No biggie. Now I like to take these ends and just tuck those puppies right in. I apologize for the sound that the needles are making on the table. Okay. Now when I get to these, not sure what happened there, but we'll just, yeah, so it looks like I did do it completely backwards, or maybe I'm just holding it backwards from the way I thought I would be holding it. And as a result, okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. That was white. So let's pick up, let's do this. Let's get one white and one black. There we go. Racial harmony all the time. There we go. Fix the problem. And I promise you that you will never look at the heel of this sock and go, wait a minute, did you make a mistake there somewhere? And I definitely did make a mistake, but you will never know. No one will ever know because it will all look perfectly normal. I think as knitters, we have a tendency to overthink. Maybe as human beings, we have that tendency to overthink. But that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all gonna be fine. All right, so now what I've done is I have attached my new yarn for my heel, and that looks super nice, and all of my ends are tucked in. Now to work this Afterthought heel, I will not beleaguer you with all of that because that is very basic. You're basically working essentially what is the same as a toe. You are decreasing every other round, and then when you get to your live stitches at the end, you're going to Kitchener stitch, also known as the dirt bag stitch, them together. And that is how you add in your Afterthought heel. All right, knitting fantasies. I have long been a fan of cardigans by Hannah Fettig. And as far as I know, Hannah is not still designing, but she has a lot of great, amazing cardigans. And I will be putting those up here as I'm talking. The Rocky Coast cardigan is one that I always intended to knit. This is an all over cable pattern. I think it's in worsted weight yarn. There is this one. There's just a bunch of good ones whose names I frankly can't remember right now. Can you tell I kind of ran out of time for this podcast? It's fine. As far as I know, Hannah's patterns are still available on Ravelry. You can go in there and type in her name and see all of her designs, and you can purchase and make whatever it is that you want. But she is a wonderful, wonderful designer. To keep on the tradition of lack of preparedness, I did not really get a knitting story this week. However, I think I got something a little bit better. There is a podcast watcher who often watches with her daughter, Lucy. And I don't know how old Lucy is, but Lucy saw the Murdog. Okay, I'll put up a picture of the Murdog here in case you are new and you haven't seen the Murdog before. Basically, it's a picture of a cute little animal, in this case, a dog mermaid who is knitting, a dog mermaid unicorn who is knitting. And she decided that she needed to draw a picture of a cute little animal knitting. And she drew this incredibly amazing picture of a squirrel knitting. My husband was like, I think you need to change your name to Knitty McPurly. But it's this adorable, adorable squirrel who is knitting and sitting in a little chair, and he's got a little acorn on the ground next to him, and there's a little picture on the wall that's got an acorn on it. And I was just like, I love when one artist's work inspires another. And I was just filled with joy to see this adorable picture. Thank you so much, Lucy. You did such a good job. I love it. And I bet if you read the comments down below, everybody else loves it too, because it is just so great. People are starting to bang down the door, folks. Yeah. See, now here's Gigi. Thank you so much for joining me this week. If you have a knitting story that you would like to share that is cute or heartwarming or funny or lovely or whatever,
anything,
send it to me. Send me a video, audio, type it out and I'll read it, whatever. I would love to hear from you. I do not have a story for next week yet, so somebody send me one, okay? This is our oral tradition. We got to keep it going. All right, I'll see you next week, knitters. Bye. This naughty puppy has been eating things he's not supposed to eat, like pencils. Oh my. Rocky. He's a good boy. I'll say hi to the people.
Oh, yes. I thought you stopped.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, just because you just married me.
Rocky. I love you, Charlotte. He's such a good boy. I'm holding him while Alexis is in the bathroom because he's been being naughty.
Do you think they can see my outfit?
Oh, look at this
I want to
cute
get
outfit.
higher.
Just don't hit your shoulder on the shelf. All right. Bye. Say bye. Yeah. Bye, Rocky. This will be a blooper. Bye.
Bye.
To me.
So
Oh, what a
my
cute
outfit,
outfit.
There's these little things, and then this is just a little prank.
It's a prank. You are adorable. And your glasses, it's so cute. All right. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna bloop all this. We're blooping at the end.
This?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
One last shot of your claim to fame.
Rocky. That's everybody's favorite. Everybody watches the podcast just for Rocky anyway.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
Oh, Rocky stinks.
Okay.
There's dog hair on my shirt.
He stinks.
Okay. Beat it, sister.
He smells